Attitude is everything. Change your attitude, change your life. Jeff Keller. Lesson 9. Associate with positive people. A mirror reflects a man's face, but what he is really like is shown by the kind of friends he chooses. The Living Bible, Proverbs 27. A mirror reflects a man's face, but what he is really like is shown by the kind of friends he chooses. The Living Bible, Proverbs 77. In high school, Mike spent a lot of time with a bunch of guys in his neighborhood. According to Mike, these guys just like to sit on the front porch and watch cars go go by. They they had no goals and no dreams. They were always negative. Whenever Mike suggested they do something new, the others would discourage him. It's stupid or not cool. They told him. Mike just went along with them so he could remain part of the group. When Mike went off to college, he still ran into some negative people, but he also met people who were positive, who wanted to learn, who wanted to achieve things. Mike decided to spend his time with the positive people. Almost immediately, Mike started to feel much better about himself. He developed a great attitude. He began to set goals. And I am happy to tell you, Mike now runs his own successful video production company and has a wonderful family. One by one, he is accomplishing all the goals he has set. When I asked Mike what happened to his high school friends, he told me they still live in the same neighborhood. They are still negative and they are still doing nothing with their lives. Mike added, I had never be where I am now. I had never be where I am now. If I kept hanging out with those guys, I had still be at the daily daily playing pinball. Mike added, I had never be where I am now. If I kept hanging out with those guys, I had still be at the corner daily playing pinball. Mike's story is a great reminder about the influence others have on our lives. And yet, sometimes we get in the habit of being with certain people and we just don't think about the consequences. Have you ever heard the axiom, tell me who you hang out with, and I had tell you who you are? There is a lot of wisdom in the simple statement. Have you given much thoughts to how the principles have been molding and shaping your life? Think back to when you were growing up. Do you remember how concerned our parents were about who we hung out with? Kinds of details about them. Why our parents knew what we had be greatly influenced by our friends, but that we had tend to pick our friends were doing that we had tend to pick up some of their habits and that we had probably do the things our friends were doing. Our parents were concerned for good reason, and I will be that if you have children, you closely watch their friends because of the impact these youngsters will have on your children. Their friends because of the impact these youngsters will have on your children. Toxic people and nourishing people. In today's literature, toxic people and nourishing people. In today's literature, we see the terms toxic people and nourishing people. As you might expect, toxic people are the ones who always dwell on the negative. The dictionary defines toxic as poisonous. Toxic people continually spew their verbal poison. In contrast, the dictionary definition of nourishing is to promote the growth of. Nourishing people are positive and supportive. They lift your spirits and are a joy to be around. Toxic people will always try to drag you down to their level. They hammer always at you with all of the things you can't do and all of the things that are impossible. They barrage you with gloomy statements about the lousy economy, the problems in their life, the problems soon to be in your life, and the terrible prospects for the future. If you are lucky, they might even throw in a few words about their aches and pains. After listening to toxic people, you feel listenless and drained. Motivation speaker Les Brown refers to these people as dream killers. Psychologist Jack Canfield described them as energy vampires because they suck all the positive energy out of you. Have you ever been with a negative people and felt as if that individual were physically taking energy from you? I think we have all had that experience many times. One thing is certain. Spend time with toxic people and their negative messages will wear you down. On the other hand, how do you feel when you are around people who are positive, enthusiastic and supportive? You are energetic, energized, inspired. There are there is something truly amazing about positive people. They seem to have a positive energy that lights up a room. When you are around them, you start to pick up their attitude and you feel as if you have added strength to vigorously pursue your own goals. When I think about positive people, my friend John Lisicich immediately comes to mind. Whenever I speak with John, I feel like I can conquer the world. John is simply the most positive person you could ever meet. I had to think of myself as a very positive person. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most positive, I had probably give myself a 9.5. I had have to give John Lisicich a 14. He is just off the charts. He is always positive, always enthusiastic, and he gives a tremendous lift to everyone who crosses his path. His attitude inspires people to greatness. Can you see how your attitude might improve if you had a friend like John in your life? Those silly songs on the radio. I am sure it has happened to you many times. You hear a song on the radio and you say to yourself, what a ridiculous song. Later that day, you hear the same song again. I am sure it has happened to you many times. You hear a song on the radio and you say to yourself, what a ridiculous song. Later that day, you hear the same song again. The following day, you hear that song a few more times. As the song climbs the charts, you can't get away from it. You hear it several times each day for a week. Then sometime something incredible happens. You are sitting at home and all of a sudden you start to hum or sing that silly song. If at that very moment I were to ask you that what you think of this song, you had tell me it's horrible. Then why on earth are you singing it? The reality is whatever you hear over and over will be at the forefront of your consi- consciousness consciousness consciousness. As you also know, once that song becomes less popular and is not played as frequently on the radio, you will tend to think about it and sing it to yourself much less often. There is an important lesson here. The mind tends to dwell upon whatever it repeated over and over. Unfortunately, the mind does not discriminate between messages that are good for us and those that are harmful. If we hear something often enough, we will tend to believe it and act upon it. Just as a song repeated many times will get us thinking about that song, so too will repeated thoughts and about success get us thinking about success. So if we will make sure to fill our minds with positive messages, we are going to be more positive and more forward boldly to achieve our goals. The more positive reinforcement, the better. And where we can we get this positive reinforcement? Well, one way is to read motivational books. Congratulations, because you are doing that right now. In addition, we can listen to motivational audio programs and spend lots of time with positive pupils. Smoky sponge theory. I have learned a lot about attitude and the importance of surrounding myself with positive people. From my friend Glenn Smoky store. Smoky worked in sales for 45 years in the cemetery and funeral home industry. While this may sound like a gloomy field, let me assure you that Smoky is a positive dynamo. Every time I get off the phone with Smokey, I feel terrific. Smokey explained to me that human beings are like sponges. We soak up whatever people around us are saying. So if we spend time with someone who is negative, we sponge up the negatives and it affects our attitude. Of course, the reverse is also true. When we hang around positive people, we soak up the positive. We feel better and perform better. I once asked Smokey, what do you do if you are speaking with a negative person? He said, I get away from that person as soon as I can. I will say something like, Goes, it's been God to see you, Charlie, and I move on to another person. Then I asked Smokey, did you ever have a friend who was negative? Not for very long. He said, well put, Smokey. Evaluate your friendships. It's crucial that you evaluate your friendships from time to time, even those you are maintained for many years. Trust me, this is not a minor issue. Those who occupy your time have a significant impact on your most priceless possession, your mind. Are you surrounding yourself with negative friends and spending a lot of time with them in your leisure hours? Leisure hours. If so, I am going to ask to think about spending much less time with these people or even no time at all with them. Sounds harsh, doesn't it? After all, I am suggesting that you limit or eliminate your involvements with some long standing friends. When I tell people this at my seminars, invariably, someone will raise a hand and accuse me of being uncaring. Old, cold or uncaring. The audience member will typically say, shouldn't we try to help our negative friend instead of dumping them? Audience member will typically say, oh, shouldn't we try to help our negative friends instead of dumping them? Well, you are free to do whatever you think is best, and each situation must be dealt with on its own unique facts. However, I have found that in most cases, hanging around this negative friend doesn't help them. Doesn't help you either. Everyone gets dragged out down because most negative people don't want to change. They just want someone to listen to their tales of woe. Are the things around you helping you towards success or are they holding you back? Are the things around you helping you towards success or are they holding you back? W. Clement Stone. If you are if you have a strong urge to spend time with negative friends, Ask yourself why I am choosing to be with these people. Consequences and consequently and unconsciously you may be choosing to hold yourself back to be less than you are capable of becoming. By the way, I think it's wonderful to try to help someone overcome their negativity. But if you have been trying to several years and are not getting anywhere, maybe it's time to move on. Let me clarify one important point. I am not making a judgment here that negative people are any less worthy than other people. I am saying there are consequences if you spend time with people who are negative. What are the consequences? You will be less happy and less successful than you could be. Toxic relatives. What do you do if you happen to have toxic relatives? Obviously, what is a touchy issue? What I'm going to suggest is that you don't turn your back on your family member. Family ties are precious. Family ties are precious, and I think we must make every effort to maintain harmoniously family relationship. Even so, I recommend that you put some controls in place that reduce the impact your toxic relatives have on your life. You are not abandoning them or refusing to speak with them, but you are putting some limits on your involvement with them. For example, if you have negative relatives, I suggest that you don't go out of your way to call them on the phone several times each day if you know they are going to put you down or criticize your every move. What good can possibly come from that? We can we get bombarded with enough negativity as it is. Just turn on the radio or TV or read a newspaper. Do we need our relatives to provide even more negative news? I don't think so. And here is another suggestion that will work equally well whether you are talking with a friend or a relative. When the discussion moves to a negative subject, resist the temptation to accuse the other person or of being negative. That will usually makes things even worse. Instead, gently shift the conversation to more positive topic. Remember that I am not asking you to disown your relatives or refuse to attend family functions. This is about limiting your contacts with negative relatives so you don't get dragged down to their level. Positive people in the workplace. Just about every organization has some negative people working there, and sometimes you have to interact and work alongside these people, but don't go out of your way to spend time with these prophets of gloom and doom. For instance, if you frequently have lunch with negative people at work, stop having lunch with them. All they are doing is filling your mind with negativity. You can't perform at your best if you allow these people to dump their negative garbage into your mind. There there is no need to be nasty or to tell them off. You should be able to find a diplomatic way of distancing yourself from this poisonous group. Instead, take charge, be proactive, make it a point to eat at your desk, to take a client out to lunch, or to sit at different table in the cafeteria. Do whatever you do have to do to make lunch a positive experience. Instead, take charge, be proactive, make it a point, eat at your desk, to take a client out to lunch or sit at a different table in the cafeteria. Do whatever you have to do to make lunch a positive experience. Make no mistake about it, positive people are welcomed in any organization, and negative people are hurting their chances for advancement. The problem of negative workers has gotten so bad that I recently got a brochure in the mail announcing a full day seminar entitled How to Legally Fire Employees with Attitude Problems. How to legally fire. The business community is waking up to the fact that when it comes to productivity in the workplace, attitude is everything. Choose your friend wisely. As I said at the beginning of this lesson, tell me who you hang out with, and I will tell you who you are. If you serious about getting a raise or a promotion at work, succeeding in your own business, or improving yourself as a human being, then you have to start associating with people who can take you to the next level. As you increase your association with nourishing people, you will feel better about yourself and have renewed energy to achieve your goals. You will become a more positive, upbeat person, the kind of person others love to be around. I used to think it was important to associate with positive people and to limit involvements with negative people. Now I believe it's essential if you want to be a high achiever and a happy individual. So surround yourself with positive, nourishing people. They will lift you up and ladder of success. Good friends are good for your health. Dr. Irvin Sarasan.